This episode is brought to you by Beanie Tools. Every tool you'll hear in this episode that is created by Stephen Bean himself is hand touched by him and basically hand polished and created by Stephen himself. So if you want to get yourself some Beanie Tools, go to beanietools.co.uk, or if you're in the United States, go to wellshot.com, get yourself some Beanie Tools.
Welcome everybody to another episode of Forging Brains podcast. Today we got a guest from over the seas with us today via the internet. Thanks.
We love the
Al
internet.
Gore. Today we got Toby Pedley with us. I'm excited to get to chat with Toby and see what he's got going on in life. Thanks for joining us, man.
Yeah, no, thanks so much for having me, guys. Big fan of the pod. Listen to them all. So yeah, real nice to get asked to come on. Been excited about it. Yeah.
Yeah, man, been excited to have you on. You're a multi-generational farrier, right? Your dad's a farrier?
Yeah. I believe he's the first in the old lineage, but yeah, he was the starting point for me, really. I think for a lot of lads, at a really young age, your dad's a superhero, isn't he? He's crashing around doing all the cool stuff. He's following him. So straight away, I grew up on a riding centre and livery yard that my mum runs, and my dad had the forge there as well. And it was a brilliant childhood in that, had the horses there, and there was always loads of people about it. It was brilliant, really. But the riding school side of it was always quite pink, sparkly, unicorns, glittery, all that. But then you'd walk into the forge and there's just a load of teenage lads drinking beer and smashing metal about and swearing, and music's on. And yeah, straight away I was like, oh, this is where I want to be. So yeah, that's how I got into it, and just gone from there, really.
So was your dad, obviously, and I think this is probably more common over there than it is here. I don't know how many times you've been over here, but it's we definitely have different camps, of what a horseshoer is.
Oh,
and so was your dad a competitor in
Yeah,
into
and
making shoes and everything?
That was a huge part of it for me, really, was growing up, I'd come back from school and, go and change my clothes and everything. And by the time I'd got down to the forge, they'd pretty much finished shoeing, but he always had, at the time, 2 apprentices, and he always encouraged those to compete. All the farriers in the area encouraged lads to compete, and we're in a very farrier dense area around here, and we still are, but more so at the time. And there was a real good group of training farriers and apprentices, so there was really good sort of in-house competition as well. So by the time I'd get down to the forge, they'd be practicing for the competitions on the weekends. And I think that in my early days, I probably saw more of the shoemaking side of it a lot of the time than the horseshoeing side, because by the time I was in the forge, it was the apprentices crashing steel about and making shoes and trying to work out specimens for the weekend.
They were done shooting for the day.
Yeah. And my dad was the same. He was practicing for competitions, and it wasn't his main focus in life. He had show jumpers and a lot of other things going on, and a lot of work to do on the riding school, because that was kind of an upcoming business for the 2 of them. So there was a lot to do with that, but it was straight away for me, it was just the coolest thing, especially at 6-7-year-old. So I'd go in the forge and he'd be like, if you hear any words in here that you're not used to hearing, don't say them at school. So I'm
don't say them in front of your mom.
It felt like Fight Club. I'm in this cool underground cult where they swear and stuff and drink beer and all this. Yeah, don't tell your mum and all that sort of thing. And I'd pick up a hot pair of tongs, the wrong end, and be screaming and crying. He'd be like, cool, don't tell your mum, because you won't be able to come back in. So you're try not to cry because the boys are there. And yeah, it was great. So that was my sort of first introduction to Farrier, really. And I used to always go out and help him on my days off from school and things like that. He'd stick me in the van, and I'd just camp out in the back of the van and get to the yards and maybe try and pull the odd pair of shoes off and pass nails and fetch stuff and get buckets of water and plug the electric in and stuff. And yeah, I loved it. It was brilliant.
Were you riding horses at all at that time too?
Yeah, really enjoyed it. So again, just trying to follow in his footsteps. He had show jumpers, so I wanted to show jump, and had a few little jumping ponies. And we used to go over to Ireland as a family and buy project horses quite cheap from a fair over there and bring them back, and then I'd ride them to the best of my ability. Certainly not the best pilot in the world by any stretch, and jump them to a point where we could sell them on, or where they'd work in the riding school or whatever it'd be. So it was a good introduction to the horsemanship side of it as well. And he was probably the biggest influence for me as far as horsemanship's concerned, because I consider him a fantastic horseman in every sense. And it was always I think it's the same with any parent. It's like there are the things that like they sort of let slide and stuff, but then there's the things that they're strict with. I remember coming home, and if he said like, "Have you got any homework?" and I was like, "Nah," he wouldn't really push and be like, "Do you?" He'd be like, "All right, cool." But then if you were leading a horse on the wrong side, he was, gonna clip you on or tell you. So like it was a lot like more serious on that side of things. So but I'm grateful for that. And yeah, it's brilliant. And then he got me going, but he always said he would train me, but it'd do me a lot of good to go with another farrier, to see a different side of it. And yeah, really drilled into me early on as well that like this is the way that I do it. There's a million ways to do it, and I'm not saying that I'm right. It's just this is what I've had success with, and this is how I do it. But this guy down the road would do it this way, or he'd do it that way, and so on and so on. So one of his closest friends, Gary Harland, who literally had a forge maybe 5 minutes down the road, and there was a lot of inter-apprentice rivalry at the time, and it was really good kind of organic competition and stuff. Adam Fox was Gary's apprentice, and he was going the same sort of time that Johnny Atkinson was working for my dad, and Beanie was over at Hughes. And I think that there was a real good sort of young demographic of competitive apprentices that were just pushing each other on all the time, and they used to have like in-house competitions, just like who could make the most stock shoes in a day, and these lads were getting like dragged out the forge with heat stroke because they tried to make like 30 odd sets in a day and things like that. So, it was brilliant.
It's funny, it seems like we don't have, like when I was an apprentice, I dang sure wasn't competing with the other guy to see how many shoes I could make in a day against them.
And obviously, like, what a brilliant idea, because as ATFs, they're like, this is fantastic, we're getting 30 sets a day out of these kids, like this is great, just keep feeding them steel and
just to be the top boy.
So, yeah. So it's funny, I remember I think I was about 11-year-old, and we'd gone out for tea as a family, and Gary Harland happened to be at the same restaurant, and my dad had obviously snuck off and had a chat with him and sort of said, would you have him for a day, like on a Saturday, because Gaz worked Saturdays and my dad didn't. And Gaz is just you've probably met him, the most incredible bloke, like so enthusiastic and so keen for anyone to do well, but especially young people and farriers and stuff. So they'd had a chat, and then when my dad came to the table, he sort of said, you still want to be a farrier, don't you? And I said, yeah, that's all I want to do. He said, well, go and ask Gary for a job then, he's a farrier, he sat at that table over there. So scuttled off all nervous, being like, oh my God, it's like an interview. He goes, oh, you're Chris Pedley's son, aren't you? You want to be a farrier? I said, yeah. Can I come work for you? He said, yeah, because it was a Friday. You can start tomorrow, 8 o'clock, be at the forge, bring your chaps, bring all the tools you've got. We've got horses coming in all day. And at the time, and probably still now, when Gaz works a Saturday, all the horses come into the forge. It just makes and fits everything. And I remember being pretty nervous. I was only obviously dead young. I don't know what I was expecting, but got there and there's like, it's a bigger forge. There's even more apprentices. They're a bit older. They're all sort of bashing each other about, and they're practicing for competitions, and clients are turning up like a flipping barbershop, like queuing in the drive, fetching horses in, and Gaz just had me pulling shoes off straight away, and then we'd get the horses shod, and he's a phenomenal toolmaker, Gaz, and he's been a massive influence for me on that side of it, in that as soon as he got some free time, he'd be like, right, we'll make a stamp, we'll make a pritcher, we'll make a fuller, we'll make a nailing hammer. And it used to break my heart, because we'd spend all afternoon producing what I thought were just the best tools on the planet, and then the next geezer that walked in the forge, he'd be like, do you want a fuller? There you go. He's just the most generous guy. He gave stuff away to everybody. But
we've also got another great sponsor of the Forge and Brains podcast. We got Yukon Forge, hosted by the man Yukon John McNerney himself. He's producing all new tools up on his website, yukonforge.com. Anything you need, he's the man to make it. He's got hammers, driving hammers, hoof knives, tongs in every size. He's got the propane nut, pritchels. Now he's got the E-head and city head punches available as well. Recently, he had gotten in line with Flatland Forge, and he's taken over that line of the driving hammers. So he's got the Yukon Forge, Flatland Forge driving hammers. And then he's also got the 14-ounce Scottish Thistle driving hammer as well, that's inspired by Edward Martin. So if you need some tools, you can go to yukonforge.com. Use the code BRAINS. It'll get you 10% off your order. It helps show your support of the Forge and Brains podcast, letting him know that you guys listen to this show, and it also gets you guys a deal off of anything that you need. I personally use a Yukon Forge hammer myself, my everyday forging, and I've used it now for a couple of years, and it's one of the best hammers I've used. So appreciate that, John. Go help show your support. YukonForge.com. Use code BRAINS. 10% off your order. That's savings right into your pocket. Appreciate you guys.
My first day, I got finished with Gaz, and he gave us a £20 note, and I was like, whoa,
I'm rich.
Yeah. And my dad only gave me £1 when I worked for him for a full day. So I got back in the car. He said, "You had a good day?" I said, "Yeah, I got £20. Turns the car around, drives straight back in. He says, "Gaz, you can't be giving him £20 because in 5 weeks he's gonna have £100, and I don't trust him with £100. So find a different way to pay him." So,
oh man,
Gaz like, "No worries." So instead, the rule was we'd get done, and then he'd make me a different tool at the end of each working day. So like, first thing I got was a centre dot, and then I got my first stamp, and then I got my first Pritchell, and then a back holder, and so on and so on. So by the time I was 15, I had like the nicest toolbox in the planet because I just had all these handmade tools like spilling out of everywhere, and yeah, I loved it. He used to. I started off on a big milk crate, sledging off that because I couldn't reach the anvil, and then as I got taller, it went down to a railway sleeper. And then just a pallet, and then I remember qualifying to being able to stand just on the floor to sledge and be like, "Yeah,
I made it.
Tall now,
tall now."
Yeah. So started for Gaz straight away at 16, and enjoyed school. Took school more serious than I had to because I was lied to. My mum and dad said to me when I was a kid, like, because I wanted to be a farrier, they said, "Well, you know, you need really good grades to be a farrier. You know, you need to get straight A's," and I just took that as gospel because I didn't know any different and thought farriers were like the coolest people in the world. So I thought that must be legit.
They're God's creatures.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like these absolute gods of men striding around. Like, it obviously makes sense. So then I went to work for Gaz, and I'm like 11-year-old, and he's obviously had the word in the ear from my parents being like, just lie to him about what grades he needs. So Gaz is like, "You are doing all right at school though, aren't you? Because you need straight A's." And I was like, yeah. So like, flogged myself through my school years, like nervous as hell on exam results day because
I can't get a B.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I mean, it was good in the end. Like, I'm grateful for it now. But at the time, when I went to college and found out there was lads there with like 5 C's, I was like, what?
Oh man, if you had to have A's to be a horseshoer, there probably wouldn't be any horseshoers in America.
I couldn't believe it when I found out. I was like, "What are you on about?" Like, I thought this was legit. I thought everyone was the same, you know?
It'd probably mostly females, and then you, Toby.
If
everyone had to have A's.
So like, even though, because like what we hear over here is that it's really hard to like line up an apprenticeship and everything like that to become a horseshoer in England. So like, was the process any easier for you getting into school and stuff since you had everything kind of lined out?
Like, my whole career has just been a series of fortunate events because when I went to college and day one got chatting to the lads, and there was a lad there that had sent out something like, it was something ridiculous, like over 300 emails he'd sent trying to find an apprenticeship, and I was like, did you not just go to the guy down the road? Because I literally drove 5 minutes with my dad and got a job. I couldn't understand it. Like, I didn't realise that was even a thing because like 11-year-old, Gaz was like, if you still want to do this when you're 16, then you can start for me at 16. And if he hadn't taken me on, then my dad would have, or I feel like he would have known someone that could have taken me on. So yeah, and it's only getting harder. It was a huge challenge when I was an apprentice all those many years ago now. But I think it's even harder now because they've made it so difficult to train apprentices financially and with the hoops you've got to jump through. Not just our governing bodies, but like our government now with raising minimum wage and things. It's a massive expense. I think that a first year apprentice is on 21 grand a year now. And you've got to shoe a lot more horses to see a bit of profit out of that, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And it's put a lot of lads off. There's nowhere near the number that there was. When I was at college, there was 3 colleges running. There were 2 intakes a year. And there was 30 just on my block at that one college. Well, now I think there's like between 6 and 10 on a block, and they're only taking on like maybe once a year, and there's just not the numbers coming through. So whether that's going to cause like a mass shortage in however many years' time, I don't know. But I certainly think it's going to like change. It's going to have to change something because there's more horses.
Yeah.
There's definitely more horses. When COVID came along and prices went through the roof, everyone just started breeding them because they couldn't afford to go down to York horse sales and pick something up for 50 quid because there wasn't any 50 quid horses anymore.
Yep.
So I think that everything got a load of value, and they started thinking, right, well, that old broodmare in the field that's been retired for the last 3 years, we'll slap it in foal and just see what comes of it. And yards that I've sold for 10 years. Sorry, Gavin, go on.
Were you guys' shoeing prices affected any during like COVID? Like everything else went up in price, but were you guys able to raise?
We probably missed the boat with that. I think that it would have been a fantastic opportunity, but we're so far behind. I think the global price. I can't think of any international farrier I've spoken to that isn't on more money than the general price in the UK.
Yeah,
it feels like we are at the bottom, and I'm probably going to say that because I'm over here shoeing at that price, but it certainly feels as though we are at the bottom of the pile when it comes to. And I think that, to be honest, the Registration Act itself has maybe contributed towards that a little bit, because if you've got a farrier in the UK legally, they have passed a competency test.
Yep.
So if they're £50 a set and you're £100 a set, they might not be doing as good a job, but they've at least passed an exam to say they're not going to kill it.
Yeah. No, it's completely of like, well, he's still doing the base minimum. You know, it's like, you can go to 3 different restaurants and one might be really good and expensive, and one might be, shit and cheap. But you're like, well, they at least passed the health safety test, so it's not going to kill me.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like eating roadkill. Yeah.
Yeah, we're like I could see that. I could see that contributing to the price, because they're completely just they're like, well, I'm not going to screw around with you and your high price. There's 3 more of you down the road.
There's just no need to. There's no need to. So yeah, I think that as much as I'm a fan of the register, and I think that it's good, and it's good that we've got registration, it's certainly good that we've got an exam format in place, although I think that that's going through a bit of a tricky period at the moment. It has certainly made a harder environment to raise prices in, because we're not organised enough as an industry to say, let's all just go up together by this amount. If we all go up by 10% or whatever, and we all go in one go, then, there might be a little bit of shuffling around initially, but we should all settle back down. So, yeah, it's a tricky one, and I don't really know what the answer is for it, to be honest.
No, well, it seems like, from outside looking in, that they're almost forcing you guys into a situation to use the apprentices. And so, like, that 20,000 per apprentice isn't going to be that crazy down the road when there isn't as many qualified horseshoers, because there's just not producing as many. So now it's like, you're going to be forced to have to run a multi-farrier business.
Exactly, yeah. And that's kind of the way it's going. Yeah. And then it'll go the other way for, it's going to do that, isn't it? It's going to ebb and flow. And then we'll end up with everyone taking on 3 apprentices. And then in 20 years' time, there'll be farriers everywhere. And I know what you mean. Yeah.
No, that's kind of a crazy deal. And so, like, right now, do you have an apprentice that you have under you, or
no?
What did your? I guess we'll step back before that. Is like, what did your apprenticeship look like going through there? How long did you have to apprentice with them?
It was just the best apprenticeship. So obviously I was with Gaz, who at that point was just like Uncle Gaz, because I've been going there since I was 11. But take that out of it and just look at it as an apprenticeship, you couldn't have asked for a better apprenticeship. So in 4.5 years, we got a lot of horses. Like, we were doing around about 15 sets a day, and I didn't put a single factory shoe on in my entire apprenticeship. Everything was handmade. And he was the only one doing that at the time, really. So going back to the forge and making stock was a huge part of the apprenticeship. And he wanted you to always work out of coke, because he was just very traditional like that. So there was no gas fires or anything. And you learned to run your coke forge efficiently, and you learned to get shoes on and just get shoes made quick and make shoes for feet. And in all that time that I was with guys, I can't think of one day that I pulled up to that forge and he wasn't just in a good mood. Like,
That's cool.
Yeah, like, my dad's definitely got the greatest work ethic of anyone I know. Like, he just grafts constantly. Like, he just doesn't stop. 7 days a week, he's out. If he's not shoeing horses, he's digging ditches or doing stock fencing or something, and would never complain about it. And then you've got Gaz, who it just never felt like, it never even felt like we were going to work. It just felt like play. And I think that when I was doing bits of work with my dad, it was very much like looking at the whole horse and really trying to think how we can improve everything about the way it's going, and that's very much his focus for shoeing. And Gaz, although he took the whole horse into consideration, fantastic Farrier, was also very much about like the craft of it and the beauty of it, and getting handmade shoes onto feet, and just like made me realise we've got so much creative license. Like, if you were driving along away from a yard and you say, God, it looked good in a pair of 3/4 fullards, wouldn't it? He'd be like, all right, we'll make some then. Like, we'll put them on. And we'd be put, you know, like little driving horses would be going around in little 3/4, 3/8 roadsters, cork and wedge, and masslots and hunters and tool and fullards. And if you were happy to make it and it was appropriate for what that horse was doing and it was only going to benefit it in what it was doing, he'd get them on. And it was just the best apprenticeship ever. Like, oh, we had such a laugh, and yeah, it was just great fun, really. Like,
well, so much hand-on experience of like, man, seeing that many handmaids go on to feed.
Yeah, and like,
crazy.
You just learn as well, like, you'll get it shot. I remember we went to a yard and it was, we used to do a load there, so it was like the furthest yard away, but we had like 15 sets to do, so we'd happily make the drive over and spend the day there. And we got there and they said, we've just got a new horse, can you get it shot today? And he goes, yeah, no worries, we'll get it done, no worries. Because we always had a van full of stock. And I like poked my head around the corner and this thing was an absolute yeti. And I remember saying, guys, we're not getting that shot. He's like, yeah, we will. And I was like, nah, mate, we haven't got any shoes in this van that are going on that. And he's like, no, we'll get some on it. We'll have something. I'm looking at it thinking, that's like a 17-inch foot. And we have not got 17 inches steel on this van. And anyway, I was clenching up the last one. And then I can hear him bashing away, thinking like, there's no way he's found steel to get around this. And he'd made this real strong pair of egg bars for a horse that we were shoeing the next day. And he just cut them open with his buffer, put steels on them, and they fit like a glove. And it's like the perfect amount of steel for it. And you're only like, he didn't even like, oh God, what are we going to do with this? He was like, no, I'll make this happen. And then he got it.
Wham,
and like,
bam.
he walked away. Yeah, it was beautifully shod when he walked away. It's like, he always said, whatever we need is in that van because that's all we've got. So we're going to make it, you know, and it just never really seemed to compromise anything. Like, he'd always find, even when I was adamant we wouldn't have the shoes for it, he'd just pull some out of nowhere and be like, there we go, that'll be fine. And if we ever got short on stock, he'd say, just make unclipped fronts and then they can be hinds if they need to be. And in a heat, he could make one of my ugly apprentice front unclipped shoes into quite a nice hind shoe with quarter clips on, you know, out the back of the van, and just such a talent like that, you know. And yeah, he just loved it. And even at an age where he'd done a lot of horseshoeing and been doing it for a long time and shot a lot of horses as well, like, was just so keen and passionate to go and make some shoes for the next day. And we used to get back to the forge and you'd be aching a little bit and you'd be tired and, you know, you'd done 15 sets and he'd be like, right, I'll race you to 10 pairs then. And then before you know it, like, he's got the tunes on flat out, we've got coffee coming out of our ears and you're having a race to 10 pairs. And before you've made 10 pairs and you don't even feel like you've done anything. And it just made you quick and efficient, and that was his big thing.
Enjoyed the process.
Yeah. Because I remember when I first properly started, and he was really good at not making me do too much when I was a kid going. It was like, just, you know, pull shoes off, clean feet up, clean them out, whatever, but go and try and make a fucking Ninja Death Star or something. Like, don't bore yourself with the rest of it. You're going to be doing this a long time. So when I properly started, it was like, right, learning to clench up, buzzing, can't wait. And you just assume you're going to be really good at it, don't you? And then I was shit. So, yeah, I'm looking at it thinking, he's like, that's not good enough. Like, we need a better standard than that. So I'm like, right, okay. So started to get a bit better. And then I remember really I just took forever. And he came over to look at it. And I'm thinking, I've made quite a good job of this. I think he's going to be quite impressed. And he got right close and was like, that wasn't nearly quick enough. and then just walked away. And I was like,
There ain't no winning.
Like, I need that, but like 10 times speed. So it's like, oh, right, okay, right. And then, he held you to a standard. He always wanted nice clenching, and we weren't allowed clenching tongs till we were in our third year. So you had to hammer clench everything for the first like 2 years or so. So yeah, it was. You just couldn't have asked for a more traditional apprenticeship. Every Monday,
what a better deal of like that. He was just like, there was never a big mountain to the guy. It seemed like, you know what I mean? To some people now, and like new horseshoers see come out, you know, they're like, it's such a big deal to them to just make a pair of shoes or to make a straight, like, where it sounds like this guy just had you guys kind of like, I don't want to say fooled, but he just showed you like, it doesn't have to be mentally hard. Yeah.
So when I went to college on Block 1...
I want to talk about a sponsor of the Forge and Brains podcast, the World Championship Blacksmiths. They've got a great year lined out for all of us to go compete. They're going to start out with the Horseshoeing Classic, March 12th. They got Bodie Turnka and Carl Villa judging that. Amarillo, Texas, Mike Augenstein judging that, April 22nd. They got Edgewood, the Roadrunner Classic. They got Stan Mullen. He's judging that. That's June 24th. We got Spruce Meadows, the World Championships again with Master Kunzagi, Travis Coons, and Ian Gajak judging September 9th. And then we got the Virginia State Fair with Mr. Adam Farr judging. And then the Fort Worth 2026 season finals, they've got Dawa Docta and Martin Abink, and that's December 2nd. The WCB runs competitions. They make a vehicle in which you can improve your skill sets. With better mechanics, you can actually use your hands to perform what your eyes see. Humility and teamwork rule the world. If you have goals, you need a team. Nobody does it on their own. The World Championships at Spruce, the Classic, or a local contest, it's all done with a team or support group. Why? A group of people who want something can use people to their strength to develop a stronger unit. So if you're looking for something to do where you can help improve your skill set and grow amongst another group of farriers that are like-minded and have the same goals that you have, the World Championship Blacksmiths is a place for you to do that. They also have on their website a whole line of swag, merchandise, and tools. And on their website, you can use the code BRAINS for 10% off anything you order. That isn't including membership or contest fees, but go help show your support. Go to worldchampionshipblacksmiths.com, and we thank them for sponsoring the Forge and Brains podcast.
And they're like, do a make and fit to this dead leg, and everyone's like, oh my god, make and fit. And I'm like, what else is there? Like, what's the alternative to a make and fit? Isn't it? This is what we do. And every Saturday, he didn't have his work on the Saturday, sorry, but every Saturday, every Monday, it was just horses to the forge. So kind of like, if anyone had forgotten to book the horse in, or they had a shoe off, or the people could book in, they just turn up at the forge. So at times, you'd have like 5 horses waiting in the car park, but it was still no stock shoes went on them that we'd made previously. It was always make and fit on a Monday. So then you've got it that next level again, where it's like, now you're making shoes for the horse in front of you, and really trying to drill into you, like, you've made this stock shape again, but the horse is in front of you now, so why not make it that shape? And it's like, still do it now. Still can't fit feet now. So, but it was just the best apprenticeship. And
so those years, like when you started working for Gary, like at 11, in those years before you started your actual schooling, did he ever let you like trim any feet or nail any shoes on in that point?
Yeah, I mean, we go to, you get to those yards and there's like 2 sets and a rub round. Like, he'd do the 2 sets. Like, you can go and trim the pony and give me a rasp that had been a bench rasp for like a week and a knife that like was basically a hoof pick. So at 11-year-old, I'm like, better not bleed this. Like, you could have left me there for a month with that rasp and knife. I wouldn't have found blood on it. But I felt like I was doing a really good job, so it didn't matter too much.
The little bit that he kind of let you do there, when you actually started going into the schooling, did you feel like you were ahead of the other students with school?
I don't know. It's hard because I think that in my head, I was probably thinking I was doing this really solid job. Mm-hmm. Whereas actually I was like just a kid scratching at feet, and then he'd come in behind me and just quickly trim them properly.
Yeah.
So it was hard to make that transition at 16 when I started properly of like, okay, now I actually need to start cutting things off and removing foot and, doing a good job of this. We're not 11-year-old anymore, playing with a blunt rasp and just getting used to the motions. And always felt very comfortable under horses because that just felt what I was used to. So that was quite good. But definitely took me a little bit of adjusting to be like, okay, no, actually I need to like do a job of this now. And he's not going to come behind me on every foot and trim it properly. I'm expected to trim this properly now. And the way that Gaz worked was, it was like, trimming's the last thing you learn because it's like the hardest and most important part of the job, trimming and fitting. So he had us pulling shoes off first, then you moved on to clenching up, and then you moved on to nailing on, and then you moved on to trimming and fitting after that. So it was kind of like a little bit of a backwards way about it, but he's right because, yeah, he wanted us to nail on quite early so you learnt more about shoemaking. Because if you were nailing on your unpitched shoes, you'd soon start pitching them and making them a bit easier to get on and stuff and seeing all that sort of thing. So it was a good way to do it. And yeah, I certainly wasn't ahead of... I maybe thought I was, but looking back, I wasn't ahead under the horse. Maybe on the shoemaking a little bit, quite comfortable on the anvil because I'd done quite a lot of forging and playing about and probably had quite a good knowledge of tools and tool steel and dressing tools and things like that. But I wouldn't say ahead as much because I'd kind of just been... My Saturdays were... As much as I felt like I was going to work, I was just playing really and, trying to make cool stuff and just enjoying being there. But it's good because it made me like... My favourite day of the week was a Saturday and I got to go and shoe horses.
Yeah, and play.
Yeah, it was just like play. Yeah, exactly. Yep. So then when I started work, it was like, sweet, I get to play every day now. And you sharp realise that, actually it does hurt and your back does hurt and... You're actually not very good at it, and you're not going to be this world champion that you think you are, and all the rest. So, yeah, it was a bit of a shock to the system, but no, it was really good, really good. Yeah.
So, how long did you work for him after you got out of college?
Oh, literally, as soon as I qualified, I did maybe a month or 2 months, and then just cracked on self-employed from there, and then quite quickly found myself with like quite a lot of race yards.
Okay.
As I qualified, I took on Phil Kirby's, who was a apprentice for my dad, who was always going to go train a racehorse. He just wanted something to fall back on. And he was a brilliant apprentice for my dad. He got on with him really well. And when I was in my 4th year, I went to his open day to have a look around his yard. And he said, "You qualified yet?" And I said, "No." He said, "Well, let me know when you are, because we're struggling to find a farrier, and, I know you'll do it like your dad, da-da-da." So I was really lucky in that when I first qualified, he took us straight on, and he maybe had like 40 or 50 in training, and then it just grew and grew each year and got up to a point he probably had about 120 in maybe, and then I had another 120 horse yard on at Kevin Ryan's and a load of other yards that maybe had sort of 50, 60 on. So I was pretty much just doing racehorses at that point, and it took me completely away from the competing, took me completely away from the shoemaking. For like a good 4 years I was like out of that side of it. I tried to keep my eye in, but I think that without realising it, I took so many steps back in that time because I wasn't hot fitting shoes, I wasn't making shoes, and I remember putting a carrying pritchel in a hunter at the Yorkshire Show and walking over to the foot and thinking, I don't think I've burnt a shoe on since last year at the Yorkshire Show.
Wow.
And it just didn't fit anyway, and when it didn't, I just didn't know what to do with it. I wanted to cool out and get a store jack out, and it was one of those kind of epiphany moments not too long after that where I was like, this isn't really what I wanted to do. Like, this isn't like what I know horseshoeing to be, and it's quite stressful, and I have to be there every day, like 6 days a week. And if you'd have asked like 14-year-old Toby what he'd wanted to be when he was older, it certainly wasn't this guy going around shooting a load of racehorses and not competing. So I was like, stuff it, I'm just going to sack it all off. Kept the one race yard, kept Phil Kirby's because they're just so good with me. Like, they want the job done and they want it done right, but they know that I'll get it done. And they know that if I'm going away to Calgary for 10 days, I'll get cover and I'll do everything I can to make sure everything's sorted for them. And they know they can ring me when I'm over there. And if someone hasn't turned up, I can get someone over. And they've just been fantastic with me. I've been there 11 years now. And yeah, just couldn't ask for a better yard. I was there today and I try and get there every day. I could probably get away with not doing it every day now. There's not as many horses in, but try and get there every day, and then you don't get any big shocks and horrors if you get a couple lost shoes or anything like that. And stay on top of it for them. But they're so relaxed. I know if I get a phone call from that yard, it's only because something genuinely needs some attention. It's not
Handled.
it's not a stupid phone call to be like, just some ridiculous request. It's like,
was there like a big learning? Were you doing any racehorses before in your apprenticeship at all?
Yeah,
or was it like a learning curve?
Yeah, no, we did. We took on a race yard in maybe my second or third year that I think they had about 90 in. So we'd go 2 days a week, do 2 afternoons a week, and just rattle through them and just sort of learn to plate there. But again, like even there, Gaz was like, if you want a store jack, you have to make one. You can't
buy one.
So I had to get a bit of railway line, like a little bit of the London to Edinburgh railway line, and like chop it up and start forging on it with a sledge. And he was like, "Yeah, we're not buying stuff like that.
That's cool.
You're gonna have to make it." So I've still got the same store jack now. It's still going. Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude.
Well, trusty.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, I couldn't really fit anything else now. So still have the race yard, but the majority of my work now is like hot shoeing and probably not doing as many horses as I was because this time of year just gets so busy for me now. I want to go away competing and I'm away so much. I found that I think I've got the balance right now in that I can have quite a comfortable 4-day week and get everything done.
Yep.
Which, means that if I'm going to be away competing, I can get it done in a couple of days if I need to. If I really need to pull my finger out, I can get my week done in like 2.5 days and not miss anybody.
Yep.
And there was certainly a transition period where I was like, if I want to compete as much as I want to, then I'm going to have to get rid of some horses because I'm away a lot. And you're going away thinking, well, I've not shot that, and that. And then so-and-so and so-and-so calls you. And then somebody else loses shearing. It's just like going away became so stressful. Whereas now it feels like I've got such a good client base. They're all so supportive. They're all, they all want to know how it's going with competing and things and keep up to date with what I'm doing and stuff. And yeah, I think with what I'm wanting to do at the moment, it kind of needs to be like that, really.
And so like that has to be a pretty big life change though, that you're going from a time where you're like working all the time, just making money, you know what I mean? And then to the point where you're like, well, I'm going to fire some horses, work less, go spend money, and you're in an area that you can't like. Here, when we make those choices, we're like, well, I'm just going to raise my prices by $40 and it's going to cover that.
Yeah. So, like, I think I was shooting a lot of horses before and I thought I was like the richest man on the planet till the tax man comes and takes it all off you. And now that's where I think I found the balance now is like, I feel like I'm living, I don't feel like I'm need want for anything, if you know what I mean. Like, I'm very happy with my life. But at the same time, as sad as it sounds, like, I go to work, shoot my horses, I come home and go in the forge, and then I've got a little home gym, and then on a weekend I'm going competing. So it's not like I don't have to afford a big expensive hobby. Like, I'm not have to play polo or golf or flying away to Ibiza for a week. So and it's just the choice I made, and a lot of that came off the back of Chris Hole, who's a really close mate of mine, and still is, and Sam Johnson's tagged in with that now, and we're sort of good little trio sort of going towards the fellowship at the moment. But we were at the Yorkshire show a good few years ago and he said, I've entered my associate to do my AW. I said, I've entered it as well. Like, I need to put my finger out and like start making some shoes for it. So he said, well, look, I'll come up to yours on a Sunday and we'll do every Sunday doing making fits, bar shoe making fits until the exam. So I was like, right, brilliant. Yeah. So Chris came up and he's just got the most phenomenal natural eye for balance and shape, and his trimming was just so... He qualified, just went to day work for loads of people. Good people. Like Spud taught him a lot, and just real good hands, and he just kept learning. Whereas I qualified and went and shot a load of racehorses by myself in the dark and just developed a load of mistakes and bad habits. So he really... That felt like my second apprenticeship, was when me and Chris became really close, and he just gathered us up and pointed us in the right direction again. And I was making a bar shoe and sandboxing the Shandang out of it and being like, it's a good job, isn't it? And he's like, well, no, it doesn't fit. And
it's just shiny now.
Because your trim's not flat. So, it's just a really shiny turd. Like, it's just that. So, it was one of those. And we worked towards the associate. We passed the practical and then we entered the theory. And, like, begrudgingly, we were like, look, we've got 6 months. We probably better keep these Sundays rolling and just do revision, you know?
Yep.
So he came up and we'd revise together. We'd have a bit of a practice when he was up and then pass the theory. So we got our associate and we developed this little bromance where we see each other every Sunday. And I was like, I don't really want it to stop. He's like, well, why don't we just compete together then? We can, you know, at that point it was like springtime and all the county shows are about to start. So he said, well, we'll go competing. And Chris had been probably a bit better than me, but a very similar level as apprentices. I'd say Chris was a little bit better, but we'd both been on the England apprentice team and really pushed that side of it. So in my head, we were still level. But then we'd go competing, and Chris had this period after he qualified of just training and grafting and learning and developing his skill set. And I'd done 4 years of just sat still doing nothing. So we're going to these county shows, and Chris is winning, and I'm consistently coming 16th. That was like my spot. Like, there could be 14 lads in it, and I'd find a way to be 16th every weekend, man. And we're getting back in the man's drive home. He's like, "Wow, good day, wasn't it?" And I'm like, "I want to kill myself, mate. Like, this is yeah." So, but I really enjoyed the competing. I just was really bad at it, and I sort of said, "Look, I'm not enjoying coming out here, mate, and doing crap. Like, I just want to be better." So, just went back to locking myself in the forge every day, and just said, "I'm just gonna, like, the new rule is I make shoes every night. Unless there's a genuine reason why I can't do it, I'm gonna make shoes every night." And Chris was brilliant through that whole period of just dragging me up and being like, your shoes are still racked, you know, like that heel is a nice heel, but it's just not appropriate for that foot. Your trim is still a 7.8, so you're starting every class 0.5 behind everyone else on the floor. Like, you need to work on these things. And he really pulled me up and still continues to. And you know, we compete pretty neck and neck now at the county shows and stuff, and it's great fun because it's just, when we're working together, it feels pretty seamless. We've struck for each other for so long now, it's just like really good. And then, I don't know how long it'd be, maybe a year or 2 years ago, Sam Johnson, who competes as well at the county stuff and was sort of friendly with us, but from a bit of a distance and in a bit of a different group and from a different area, just sort of said, you know, want to be a bit more involved with you lads and kind of practice with you. And we literally made a bit of a nothing group chat on WhatsApp, and it's like turned into this like romantic trio that is just doing everything
just
now.
Horseshoeing.
Yeah, we're like practicing all the time, and we've got the fellowship coming up, so we're working towards that as a 3. Like, we're going to do a thesis where we can all pull a study out of it each. We're running the British Pairs Championship together and trying to get round doing clinics together in preparation for the fellowship, and all pushing as hard as we can with the competing side of it. So just having that group chat there to...
How close do you guys live to each other? Nearby?
In the UK, mate, not that close, but for you guys, I think it's quite close. We're all about 2 hours from each other.
Yeah.
Which doesn't seem too bad for me because I've got the bigger Ford, so they normally end up driving to me. So it's fine. But they have to put the miles in to come up. And I go down to Sam quite a bit and stuff. But no, normally they come up. So we've got the British Pairs Championships this weekend that we're running. And I've run competitions in the past, and I'll be honest, it's just a headache, isn't it? Like, there's just so much to organise. But doing it with Sam and Chris has just been a breeze because they're just happy to share the workload and take
actually
it all
do
on.
their part.
Yeah, and it's just been like, it's just run itself. And because it's hard to motivate yourself to do something like, I don't know, call a sponsor or sort out horses or order the steel. But when there's messages pinging off in the group chat and Sam's just done the timetable and Chris has spoken to this sponsor, you sort of think, oh, geez, I better pull my finger out and do something, you know? So, so I'd say Chris sort of gave me the shake up and got me going again competing, and then from there, you just make that whole friendship group, don't you? You know, like, obviously I was good friends with George Rogerson before that, but we're really close now, and I give him grief down the phone pretty much every day, and he lives 4 hours away, so we don't see that much of each other, but we try and compete a lot together, and he always keeps us right. And you know, Alex Collier's a real good pal now. I speak to him most days, and he it's nice to have somebody just as obsessed with shoemaking that you can waffle about. You know, we can talk about fuller and stop ends for an hour and a half and then get off the phone. He's quite happy to chew on about the small details. So yeah, it's been great. And then
about how long ago then when you said you were placing like 16th, how many years ago was that you kind of were in that little...
Geez, it'd be maybe, I'm trying to think now, probably be 4 years ago, I'd say. Yeah, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, maybe.
So like 3-4 years ago, you kind of went from being last in the pool.
Oh, the bottom, mate, yeah.
And now you've made quite the transition where you've qualified for the England Farrier team this year, right?
Yeah, which is fantastic. And like, I owe a lot of that to like, people like Beanie. I think he noticed early on that I was trying and was always really supportive. And then as I started getting better and a bit closer, and I was never deterred by being terrible. Like, I still went to the team trials knowing I wouldn't get on the team, but that was always the goal. And like, I wasn't too vocal about it in the beginning, but because it just felt ridiculous from where I was placing to think like, I want to be England team one day.
Yeah.
But that was always the direction, because I'd been England apprentice team, and as a kid growing up, like, the pinnacle for me was always going to be pushing for the England team and trying to get on that. So the minute I got back into competing, it was like, right, we're back on with plan A. Like, we had plan A for a little bit, that went out the window, and plan B was shit. So now we're back on to plan A, and we're going to drive on with that, and we're going to go back to that. So that was always the goal. And as I started getting a bit better and doing a bit better, and Beanie was brilliant, and he offered quite a bit of help early on. And when I made the reserve spot on the England team maybe it was 5 years ago that I was really bad. I think it was maybe 2 or 3 years ago that I made reserve on the England team, and he really took me under his wing then and was like, right, you need to get to mine and I'll give you a hand. And he's been brilliant since. I speak to him a couple times a week, and he expects me to send all my practice goes over, and he sends me his, and he pulls them apart. And just talking about every aspect of competing, like, his brain works,
it's
on every level of it, doesn't it? Like, I'm going to Denmark next week, and he rang me last night and was like, you've read the rules, haven't you? Because there's the 10 mil rule, and there's this rule, and there's that rule, and just a good mentor to make sure that I'm not getting like caught out with stuff as well, And you guys know what it's like when people in that area of competition see that you're trying and you're putting the work and they just want to help you.
Yeah.
And, like, I just feel, again, series of fortunate events, just blessed to have the people around me that I do. Like, 5 years ago, to think that I'd be, like, quite often I'll be in the forge on a night and I'll have my headphones in and I'm practicing and Collier's practicing and we're on a call, kind of like... It's almost like playing Call of Duty or something. You've got a headset on. I'm like, right, now I'm going for it, mate. Like, yeah. And we're practicing the same shoes for the same stuff. And he's talking through what he's doing, and I'm talking through what I'm trying to do. And yeah, the support's just been amazing. Danny Elliott, Silverback Chaps, way back when I was still doing very average, was like, I want to support you. I want to sponsor you. I can see how much you want in this and how hard you're working towards it. I think you're going to get there. I want to back you. And his support's been incredible, and just having someone like that in the industry sort of say, "No, I think you can do this, and I think you can push on," and still doesn't feel real being on the England team. Like, it sort of feels like someone's made a mistake somewhere, because there's George Rogerson, Stephen Bean, Alex Collier, like, what the fuck am I doing in there? Like,
they're world champs.
Like, yeah, and it's but it's brilliant.
So to make it onto the England team, what do the trials consist of? Like, how many different competitions do you have to go to in order to qualify?
It's just one trial. It's just one trial. So we had a bit of a spell of not having a trial for a few years. It was just getting really hard. We've got such a busy schedule over here with so many competitions and so many of the good lads being away competing abroad as well. We struggled to fit one in for a few years. So it was just taking off results at like some of the big county shows. But traditionally, we've gone back to the old system now. So I put the team trial on this year, which didn't really want to do because I didn't want to compete at my own team trial and be like, I've made the rules, I've made the classes, and now I'm on the team. So yeah, it was one of those, but just tried to keep it as fair as I could, and got sort of picked the judge via committee, like spoke to Collier and George and Beanie and people like that. I was like, who do you think would be a good judge? Because I know who I'd like to judge me. It's the people that have put me first for the last 2 years consistently. Yeah. I don't want to do that. I want to pick a fair judge that you think is going to pick a strong England team. And
who did you guys end up picking to be judge?
Liam Collins, who was just a fantastic judge, because like, what a freak talent. And I'll be honest, the biggest driving force for me picking Liam Collins to judge it was so he couldn't get enthusiastic a few weeks before and enter, and then I've got to try and beat him to go on.
One more guy.
And I tried it with Ben Taylor as well. I was like, he can judge the apprentices, and that'll keep him out of the way. And then he rang me and was like, I'm going to judge the apprentices and still trial. And I was like, damn it! Like,
damn,
out the window. Yeah.
My plan's going awry here.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, trying to be a bit sneaky with it, but no. So the way it's always been, and the way it was this year was, it's 3 shoes in an hour out the coke by yourself, no striker, as a shoemaking class. So this year it was a 14-inch 1.25 roadster, a hammer finish 3/8 3/4 fullered straight bar toe clipped, and then a kind of like a side bone concave shoe, like a folded over outside edge.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't really tell if it was welded or not. It was just so crisply done. They were the most beautiful specimens. So yeah, it was those 3 shoes in an hour. Out of that, the top 8 go through to the final, which is a side 3/4 fullered on the horse, toe clip fronts, quarter clipped hinds. So quick classes.
Do you get a striker in the final?
No,
It's all single.
out the coke, no striker. Yeah. So similar to the semi-finals of the final at Spruce, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So
Yeah,
is there any is there any striker classes in the trials at all?
No.
Is that what you're saying? Just
No.
It's all individual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, it's good. I mean, I remember thinking the first year I made reserve, that was all I didn't have any hope of getting on the full team, but I thought if I can sneak onto the reserve, like, what an environment to be in, and I'm going to get an England shirt and it's going to happen. And I remember getting reserve and thinking, like, this is it now. It's just straight 9-4s from here.
I can
like,
feel it right now.
Yeah, I'm
right in my
doing
grasp.
it. And then I had the worst go of my life at the International. I think I got a 3. Yeah, and it was only, the only reason I finished was because Sawyer actually saw me struggling, and I sort of looked going into it and thought, he's the one lad I've got to get round. Like, he's the biggest threat here. Like, he's the best shoemaker, and as long as I get around him, I'll be okay. And Andrew Castley had put in this, it was almost like an onion-eeled heart bar, kind of seam welded in the middle, out of aluminium. And Ben Mangan had put in a deep-seated roll-toe 3/4 fullered mule shoe with double corks. And we went and, well, before we'd even got there, I was having a terrible time because I was expecting, now that I had this England shirt, just to start churning out pure perfection without having to try. I thought that's just how it works. Like, I've got
I'm on here.
Surely everything's going to be fine. Everything's going to be okay. I'd done a little bit of aluminium welding before, but not a lot. So I started trying to weld this aluminium and, like, burnt clean through my first one, clean through my second one, third one wouldn't stick. I'm at home practicing these shoes thinking, like, I can't do this. So I rang Beanie and was like, look, I'm doing something wrong. So he gave me a load of advice and sent me a few videos and was like, you'll get it, just keep going. So I think I made 18 of them. None of them had even come close to sticking. They were just cremated. There was just a pile of aluminium on the floor.
Yeah.
And I rang him and was like, mate, you're going to have to come and sort me out. 'Cause I don't know what's going wrong. Like, I can't do it. And he's like, I don't know what you're doing wrong. Like, I've sent you the flux. I've sent you the welding rods. Like, you just watch
They should
the
make them
videos.
themselves.
Yeah, he was always getting frustrated. Like, why are you being so thick? And then I hung up and just thought, I just can't do it. And he rang me straight back. He goes, where do you get your aluminium from? I said, oh, it's from County Steel down the road where you get yours from. He says, oh, no, it's not weldable grade aluminium, that stuff. Like, you can't weld that. It melts before. I was like, oh, right, okay.
No shit.
So, this was only like a week or two out for the International. So I got some proper aluminium and thought I'd got the hang of it. And all of a sudden, welding it became dead easy because
Yeah.
it was like
right
weldable stuff. So I was like, right, dreamy, this is great. And then I went to the International like reasonably confident I was going to make some all right shoes. I was making some nice ones at home. And Beanie took us, to one side before we started. I said, well, watch Sawyer go and we'll just make a bit of a plan here. And the way that Sawyer ran his class was he made the aluminium bar shoe by itself first in like 20 minutes and then made the mule shoe and rasped up his alley bar shoe in between heats. And because the alley got so hot, he wasn't waiting on heats because you're only there for 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's working on it.
And Beanie goes, I know, I wouldn't normally tell you to change your system, but I reckon you can probably make that a bit quicker. And it's a good way to do it. Like, if you want, do it like that. So I'm like, yeah, all right, this sounds like a plan. So I had 20 minutes in my head. I was like, if I can get this thing spun around faster than 20 minutes, then I've got more time to take my mule shoe and I'll have him here. So poor Sawyer's been like stalked and assessed by me and Beanie before my class starts, and then rattled on with this heart bar and was going great guns and had it stuck together at 15 minutes and fuller and everything. And I'm like, oh, this is great. And I clipped it and I was thinking like, this is just brilliant. And I popped a ruler on it and I was like, maybe an eighth short each way. So I thought I'd whip on it quick, get it to size, park it in the vise, it'd be crisp as anything, we'll be away. And I whipped on it and it just went, popped open. And I was like, this hasn't happened before, but it's going to be okay.
No biggie. No
biggie. Like, we've got time here. So, clean it up, got it back in, had like 4 goes at rewelding it, and it just wasn't. It wasn't, man. Like, and I'm thinking, like,
just watching the clock, just go.
I've still got a straight piece of inch 3/8 in the fire that hasn't even got a toe bend in it, and we're down to like 20 something minutes, and I'm like, oh man. And then I'm shaking at this point. Like, there's videos of me, and like I started the class feeling really good, and then at this point, I'm like, there's a video of me fullering, and my hand's giving it like oh no. And then out of nowhere, Sawyer just appeared, calm as anything, and was like, just use this. And he gave me his welding stuff, and it just stuck like that. And I was like, oh man, I wanted a statue of him put up in the middle of Stoneleigh Park, like he's alive. So, but then I only had like, I think it was 18 minutes to make this deep-seated 3/4 fullered rolled toe double corking thing. And I remember putting it in and being like, I will find a way to get this done. And then I just heard Matt Randalls from the side go, I think he's going to be the first Englishman to never finish the reserve class. And I was like, oh, so bad. And like, I got it done, but I was like Pritchard in nail holes with like, seconds to go. And it was just a bad go. I think I got a 3. And I was just so upset, man. Like, I felt like I'd waited for that day for so long. And then when it came, I was just like, oh, pure PTSD. It was
it's crazy how many stories there is in the competition world like that of like, so practice was going good, and then I decided to spit the bit a little bit.
Yeah. And even when it went badly, I was like, we're okay. This is going to be okay. And then like 4th attempt at welding it, I was ready just to like run to my van and drive home. Like, I just didn't want to be there anymore.
Oh,
it was so bad. It was so bad. But no, then, got on for the home international. Matt Randalls wasn't going to be there. He had other commitments, so I got pushed up onto the team, and that was a huge, learning experience for me, and got shoved up onto that. So Beanie sort of took us under his wing again and kept us right. And George always giving us brilliant advice, but he was trying to keep us right. Anything he could do to help, as he would with anybody. He's just good like that, isn't he? So it was brilliant. Yeah, it was just the best environment to learn in. And then when I got given the manager's job, I feel like it almost took the pressure off a little bit, because I realised that the main benefit wasn't actually competing at the internationals. As much as that was what I wanted to do, it was being around that team and being around that kind of dynamic and seeing the practices and all that sort of stuff. So I got to go to the trials this year sort of thinking, look, more than anything, I want to be on the team, obviously. But if I don't make the team, I'm still going to be at every practice and I'm still going to be at every international. So the pressure's not on as much. It's not like if I don't make the team, they scoot off behind that closed door and I don't get to see them again until the trials next year. It's like, I'll get to be in and around it and be a part of it again,
You think once that pressure so the pressure was off, do you think that helped you accomplish making the team, because just didn't have as much pressure
and
put
I
on
think
you?
the right kind of pressure from other directions helped as well. So like, as I've said, like I'm good mates with all the lads now. Like, I remember speaking to Beanie about the team, and he was just probably too nice to be honest with me, or whether he's got a different opinion, I don't know. But he was like, "Yeah, no, I think you got a good chance, mate. Good a chance." Because I'd been off the team for 2 years after I was reserve, so I was like going to go and try and get back on, obviously. And he's like, "No, there's some good lads going, but you've got a good chance." And then speaking to Alex Collier, and we're just having, it's a nice chat, and consider him a good mate. And I sort of said, who do you think will be on the England team then? And I wasn't expecting him to like gas me up or lie to me, but he was like, I think you'll probably do really well in the shoemaking, and be like, you could even be first or second in the shoemaking, but then you'll fluff it in the shoe and then you'll be out. And I was like, really? And he was like, yeah, you're just not reading feet yet, and there are better horseshoers there, and And I was like, I knew that I wasn't where I needed to be like assertive to get on the team, but almost hearing it was a bit like, fucking right, yeah, okay, you're right. As well, I do a lot of my competing in the north of England, and they do a lot of their competing in the south of England. And the few times that we have crossed paths, I've given them no reason to believe I can fit feet. I've had terrible goes, so I couldn't even blame him. I was like, no, fair enough. Like I do have a really bad go in me. So I remember hanging up and then ringing George and being like, who do you think is going to make the England team, George? He's like, just pretty much word for word was like, I think you'll do really well in the shoemaking, and then you'll just stuff it in the shoeing and be off the team. And I was like, all right, cool, yeah, no worries, cheers, bro. Thanks,
Thanks for the vote of confidence.
So then I have to ring bloody Sam and Chris to get my confidence back up, and I'm like, Sam, like they think I'm going to do really bad in the shoeing. He's like, nah, mate, you've had really bad goes in shoeing classes in front of them, but I know you can fit feet, and like bigged us up a little bit. But it was exactly what I needed, because for the first time for any competition, I did more shoeing class run-throughs for the top 8 final than I did shoemaking run-throughs, because we've got the riding school, and it's a little bit tricky because the hours I'd like to be in the forge, kind of, 6 o'clock onwards, that's kind of the busy time, because that's when the kids are out of school and everything, and they're all riding and the horses are being used. So it can be a bit tricky, but my sister's brilliant, and she organises the list so that I can try and pinch a horse for a practice. And yeah, I shod a lot of horses to get ready for the trials, and just thought, like, I don't care if I get a sandbox on it, I don't care if I get stand on the foot, but it's just got to fit. It just it has to fit. And having that honesty from George and Collier, who were just being good mates and being honest about it, like, it just made me really dial it in. And I went and spent a day with George, and he was brilliant in the, he pointed us in the right direction and stuff, and sending videos of my work to Beanie and Alex, and they weren't like, you can't fit feet, haha. They were like, you can't fit feet consistently, let me help you with it, and let's work out why you're not reading feet. And they've just been great supports, really. And it's worked, and it's helped a lot. And
another great sponsor of the Forge and Brains podcast is America's favorite supply house, Welshod. In my opinion, they are the greatest supply house in the world. They do so much by sponsoring and showing their support in this trade, by helping out and donating a lot of their time and their effort and resources to get information out to you guys. Each year they host the Winter Clinic at Welshod, which is the largest farrier clinic that you can attend and gain so much out of. You want to help show your support by supporting the businesses that give back to you guys. They could probably just take all the money and profit it for themselves, but no, they invest it back in so that everybody in this community can thrive and gain from it. They have the largest selection of inventory on their website. You can go on there, and then they have the $10 flat rate shipping. I don't know how they do it, but they do it. It's awesome. Whether you're looking for tools or supplies for your everyday business, they got what you need. So you can go to welshod.com, click out what you need, or you can call them. They'll remember you. They got you on file, and bada bing, bada boom. They ship it out to you. $10 flat rate shipping. Best in the business, I tell you.
Well, you wonder if they kind of knew, if they knew that would light the fire and that it was possible there, right? Because there's some people that, like, I know it's like, sometimes, like, I'll just use Gavin and Troy because I can use it, but it's like, I know, like, there's times I probably shouldn't be too hard on Gavin because it's like, it's going to get in his head. You know what I mean? Yeah. Where there's other times I know I can tell Gavin, like, man, you're kind of sucking here. And he's going to be like, fuck, dude, I'm going to show you I don't suck. And this next go,
And there wasn't any part of me that felt, like, wronged by George and Alex because, like, they had every right to say it because I've not fit shoes in front of them, Like,
well, they probably knew it wasn't going to, like, burn your confidence. It was just going to...
They're just being honest, They weren't going to be like, oh, yeah, bro, you'll be in the team. Like, why say that if they didn't think it? Like, I'm grateful for it. But it just sort of gave us that realization of, like, nah, I do need to lock in on this and make sure that they fucking fit, And then you start trying even harder in your everyday work and making sure, like, everything is where it should be and just lifts your standard up, doesn't it? So, yeah, it was... And then
and it's kind of crazy how much nicer those horses are when you come back, that you're like, oh, okay, 100%. This was actually, like, worthwhile here.
100%. 100%. Yeah, you can see it. And yeah, I copped a load of stick because I'd organised the trial, and the whole time I'd said, like, look, I don't mind doing the manager's job. I don't want to organise the trial because I don't want it to be biased anyway, blah, blah. And Danny was like, look, organise it and I'll sort the horses and everything, and then they're not coming from any of your clients or anything like that. So sure enough, he rings me and I've got 4 horses sorted for the trial. So I'm like, right, brilliant, that's great. I've not seen them before. Like, I've not shot them. I'm in the same boat as everybody else. And then the week running up to the trials, he rings me and says, look, one of these horses is colicked and it can't come to the trials. You have to find another. So I'm ringing everyone I know, thinking, like, just find me a horse, any horse, just anything that I haven't shot before.
Just needs a pulse.
Literally, it just needs 4 feet. Like, a pulse is a bonus. So I'm thinking anything will do, and then nothing came through. So I thought, I'm gonna have to get a horse from the riding school. So I said, we got these horses, and I said, oh, we'll draw. Like, if we draw for that horse first and give it to somebody else, and then I'll draw one of the 3 that I haven't shot before. And they're like, no, that doesn't seem fair either. Like, we'll just draw it, and it'll be what it'll be. So literally drew me straight away on this horse, this riding school. So I turned around and said, look, I said to Alex, and I said, well, I'm not showing that because I've not shot it this year in practice, but I have shot it before. Like last year, I shot it a few times as a practice.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, you've drawn it now. And well done for being honest about it. You're still going to have to shoot it. It's not like it's the one good-footed horse in here and it's a peach of a draw. Like, you're still going to have to shoot it, mate. So yeah. I was like, okay, yeah. So obviously now that I had a good go on it, they're like, yeah, well, you bring your own horse to trials. Yeah.
Yeah, good on you for like just saying that. Like, hey, I don't want it stacked in my opinion. Like, there's a lot. Even for me, like going to a contest, being like, hell yeah, I know I've shot this horse. I'm gonna this is a bonus.
I didn't want it to be like, because like with having that management role, I didn't want it to look like I'd been off the team for 2 years and then I become manager and then suddenly I've manufactured this trial to like get back on the team. So, but I don't think no one's that to my face has said that. So
there's always people that are just want to be whiners no matter what. Dude.
Oh yeah,
there's still like the people that matter, the people that you're on the team with and stuff is like, as long as like if they don't feel anything happen, and like you were obviously very straightforward with it all, there's no problem. Like,
and that was like, and that's where Collie's good because he's so opinionated, but unfortunately he's normally right. He was like, you've done the right thing and been honest about it, but you've drawn it, so you're shooting it. And it was kind of like, no one was then like having a discussion about it. It was like, Collier spoke, Beanie spoke, and it was like, right, that's done then. I'm shooting it. And then, to be honest, as soon as he said that, there was no part of me that was bothered. I was like, all right, cool. As long as that's been everybody else's decision, I've not come in here and been like, yeah, well, I've drawn it, so I'm shooting it. Like, I was just like, I'll do what everyone's happy with. And came right on the day. So, yeah.
So what is the manager's role? So you were the manager. What is the manager's role?
I still don't know. It's chaos. So I kind of fell into the role anyway. In that Danny Elliott was obviously manager and still sort of is kind of co-managing with me, because we were at a Yorkshire Farriers meeting, which is our local association. They're doing brilliant things with Adam Fox and everything at the moment. Shout out to Wyfeeder. But I was at a meeting there and I was off the team, but Danny knows that I'm a bit team obsessed and I want to be back on it and was pushing for it. And so it was last year. And he said, are you going to make it down to the Home International in Wales? I said, yeah, I'm going to go and watch and just be there for the boys. And even if I'm just chucking water bottles at people, like, I'll be there. He said, you couldn't do me a favour, could you? Said, yeah. He says, I need you to stand in as manager. And straight away I was like, nope, no, I'm not doing it. Like, I'm not doing that. And he's like, no. Everything's been done. Like, it's all been sorted. All I need is someone to turn up to the managers meeting the night before. They'll have a managers meeting. They'll mention any rule changes. They'll mention any rules that need, addressing. Write it all down and pass it on to the team the next day or that night. So I'm like, I can do that. Yeah, no worries. So agreed to do that. And then the very next day, George Rodgson rings me like, all right, manager. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He says, it's in Facebook. And I was like, no. And Danny's put this big post on like, congratulations to New England team manager Toby. And I thought, oh, right, I'm doing it now then. So, it's just a matter of organising the entries, organising the logistics. Like, we've got the Home International in Ireland in May, so everyone's going to have a nice time on a 25-minute flight, and I'm going to drive a van over there with all the tools and kit in and all that sort of stuff. And just make sure everyone's in the right place at the right time, and excuse me, everyone knows what they're doing. There's a manager's group chat where all the rules and everything gets put into, and the schedule and the format. That obviously then needs transferring over to the team, and then any questions the team have, they ask me, and then I ask the manager's group chat, rather than having like 60 odd competitors in one group chat being like, well, what's this measurement and what's this? You're just a kind of representative for the team, really, and then just trying to make sure that everybody's got what they need and know what they're supposed to be doing and where they're supposed to be at what time. And it was something that I didn't want, but it's been a huge blessing, because the home international was great, and then the international at Stoneleigh was fantastic, because it got me around the team and feeling like I was a part of the team and I was a part of the discussion. Like, the lads were so good at making me part of the discussion about feet before we started. You know, what do you think? What do you see? What we're going with it? What's the plan and all that sort of stuff? And like, not that I was having much of a voice in it, but just to be inside that conversation, I felt like I learnt a lot. And I think a big thing for me, as someone that probably stresses quite a lot, especially at that level, like around the team, it was good to be around that England team bracket and dynamic without having any responsibility other than making sure that they had bottles of water, really. So like it made being around the team just very normal and quite relaxed, really, as opposed to thinking like, God, I've got to turn up today, I'm under pressure, I've got to perform. It was just kind of like, as long as everyone's got what they need and we're on time, I've done my bit, and I can just enjoy feeling like a small part of it. And you know, what an amazing team to be a part of when it was Matt Randall, Stephen Bean, George Rogers and Alex Collier. Like you're gonna in that environment, you're gonna pick stuff up, aren't you? Whether it's at the team or whatever it is. So they're then getting me to judge the team practices when we're over at Spuds, and you don't feel like you're qualified to tell them that you don't think it's flat or that they have a bit too much or whatever it might be. So yeah, it was one of those where it was just a brilliant learning experience and an incredible environment to be in and to be around. So I feel just blessed to be in it, really. It's really lucky. Really.
How many competitions do you guys do as a team a year?
2. So there's the Home International, which is England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales and the British Army. And then there's obviously the International at Stoneleigh, which is the big one at BFBA. So yeah, just the 2.
Yeah. Man, no, it's more than we got, pretty much. Man, we're a big old country, but it's like there's not a lot of opportunity. It doesn't seem like, you know.
Oh, there's just so much competing over here, and like I'm trying to get abroad as much as I can now, while I don't have like responsibilities as much as such, I suppose. And I think I've got some in Denmark next week in Harland for their national championships, and then between now and the first week of June, I've got Denmark, Sweden for Johannes' competition at Sala. I've got Quebec for the Masters Cup on a team with Beanie, George and Matt Argo. Matt Argo's brilliant to work with because he's only maybe half an hour away from me, and feels like now we're at a very similar point in our competing career. So when we're practicing together, like we're learning off each other and we're pushing each other, and he's a great mate as well. Like he did a bit of work for me when he first qualified, and my life's just never been easier. Like he was just taking a lot away from Beanie like that. It was just a dream.
Did you see the shoe list came out for Calgary again this year?
Yeah, did I? Yeah. What were we thinking? Is it right that those Jarkhawks are jump welded on? I had a dirty rumour that they're all jump welded.
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
I reckon you know.
I swear I don't.
Yeah. I haven't talked to anybody about it. I just looked at it. When you zoom in, it looks like there's brazing.
Okay, good.
Maybe it looks bright at the bottom.
Yeah.
But that I could be the picture, because when you see the original one, like Charlie put on a picture of the original one, that one was jump welded on.
Right. Okay.
I just that one looked like they were stuck on there, and it's like, man, that'll be a good time.
That was the first shoe I saw, and I was like, oh boy, we're in it.
Totally all over again with my weld crack, so I've got no idea what to do. Yeah.
Oh man, like you could almost judge most of that class, just drop them on the ground each morning to see what
popped off.
Yeah. I remember Craig Trinket came over to judge the there was like a team competition, a 4-man team competition. It was like the biggest one we had at the time. And he put something on there with jar corks, a specimen. And everyone was waiting at prize giving really nervously. You know, it's like the big competitions, and it was way bigger prize money than we were used to. And so everyone had taken it really seriously, and everyone's just waiting around. And he just strode out of the steward's room where he'd been judging, and it just went dead quiet. And he had a shoe in his hand, and he just yeeted this jar cork off a shoe, and then just turned around and walked back in. And everyone's like, "Oh my god, was that my shoe?"
It's the worst, dude, when that happens. You just like, whenever a judge picks up a shoe with something brazed on and they're sitting there tinking on it with another one, you're like, "Oh my god."
Yeah, I hope that's not mine.
Yeah. But no, I thought it was a good shoe list, and had a bit of chat with the boys about it already and stuff. And I'm going to be working with my Argo over there this year, which I'm really looking forward to. So we're gonna get over to the warm up in Vancouver. So like I was saying, I've got Denmark, Sweden, Quebec for the Masters Cup, and Ireland for the home international, and then Vancouver all before like the first week of June. So it's a busy old time.
Something else that I've seen you like get involved with more is like posting on social media a lot more.
Yeah, trying to do a bit more like now, especially with Mustad backing us and stuff, like trying to just give them a bit of value for money and pumping a bit of content, and that's been made a lot easier by Sam Wolfenden coming down and practicing away. Like he's super keen at the minute, and he's just improving every day. Like he's a really talented lad. He's just not done a lot of the competing recently. Yeah. His everyday work's solid, and like I remember he got in touch with us early last year and said he wanted to do a bit more competing and could he come and practice. He already lives about 45, 50 minutes away from me, so I was like, yeah,
that's not bad at all.
Yeah, perfect. And what a nice guy to have in the forge. Like he's just so enthusiastic and passionate about it, and just loves his shoemaking as well. And we get horses in and get them shod, and we're working together in Denmark and we're working together in Sweden as well. So that's going to be fantastic. And yeah, he's just really passionate about it and enthusiastic, and he's got some real big aspirations to do well, and he wants to push towards the team and stuff. And I think he'll do it. Like if he sticks with it consistently, there's no reason he won't do it. Like he's got the hammer strength and everything, and he's improved so much so quick. Like I think could go on and do really well. Yeah.
A thing that I really enjoy seeing from the videos that you guys put out is just seeing your guys' forges, like your shops. Like they're so different than anything we have here in the States. Like I really enjoy seeing that. And then you're posting stuff from like your practices and competitions over there, and like the contests are just so different than anything, because we do WCBs absolutely. And you go to one, it's almost like you've seen them all. It's just the atmosphere.
Oh yeah, and that's what's nice over here is, from April all the way through till October, I can practically compete every weekend, really. And you're always just in a different venue that just offers something different and comes up with different challenges and things like that. So it's good. It's really good. It's a big part of it, and you get to see different parts of the country. And with competing now, you can see different parts of the world. Like I never would have been someone to travel that much before, really. I was a bit of a home bird and stayed at home and knocked about around Yorkshire, whereas now, like, 4 or 5 international trips before June, and it's brilliant, it can take you anywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah, really good.
And so what kind of goals do you have going from here? Is Spruce like the next one on your list now that you've got the team and stuff?
I want to start to be a bit more consistent, where I think I work up. Chris doesn't get like a bit too overexcited. Like he's so in life, Chris Hull is just like beep, just flat level.
He's a
like,
5, yeah.
He doesn't do it. Whereas like I am like super hyper, overexcited, extremely caffeinated, and then I'm down about this. I can't believe someone's done this, and I can't believe I've just done that, and I've had the worst go of my life. I don't want to do it anymore. And then I'm back on cloud 9 again. And he's like, you need to just calm down, because before you compete, in that 5 minutes before a class starts, you look like you're about to go to war. Like, just chill out a little bit. You're like fucking striding down the floor, jaw clench, man. Like, just breathe a little bit. And I think that's only exaggerated when I've had a flight to get there and paid a load of money to get out there and get more worked up. And Spruce this year was the best I've felt for like mental place. I just hadn't done the preparation at all. Like I'd had a real bad run up to it prep wise. just been busy with a few other things, and also Joe Whitehead, who I was working with, who was a brilliant partner and striker. We just couldn't link up beforehand to practice before we got over there, and with the shoes being like Tool and Full and stuff, you needed to be like very locked in with each other, didn't you? So like Joe was brilliant to work with. It wasn't anything to do with him. I really enjoyed working with him. It was just I just didn't get the prep in. I feel like I didn't prep hard enough for it, and I think because in the back of my mind I sort of felt a little bit of a step off where I needed to be for Spruce. It felt so much more beneficial to be practicing for the small county stuff that I felt like I could go and win if I practiced for it. It almost put me off practicing for Spruce a little bit because I'm like, yeah, but I could maybe go and win the league or wherever I'm going. So I'll make a shoot for that instead. And yeah, I'm going to try and have a bit of a different attitude towards this year, and really looking forward to working with Matt Argo. Like, he's an absolute workhorse. He's a brilliant lad to be around. He's keen, he's enthusiastic, he's a grafter, and he'll strike his socks off. Like, look how he struck for Beanie, you know, like,
yeah.
Can't ask for more, can you? Like,
I was really impressed watching him. It was cool.
Little Matt's something else. Like, he's an absolute powerhouse. Yeah, he's unreal. So buzzing to get over there with him and just the run up to it, because I drive pretty much past his forge on the way back from the race yard. So he said, like, pretty soon we're going to start diving in, just making Tool and Fullards on the regular and things like that, just so we can start just getting a bit of a good foundation for it and go over there feeling like, dude, when I cut my 5/8 square last year, it just felt like a lottery. Like, I was like, God,
I hope this is enough, or hope it's not too much.
Yeah, because it changes so much different strikers, doesn't it? And we'd maybe made 2 shoes together, and then I got a foot on the day that was just nowhere near a size that I'd made, and I was going to have to work the section up a little bit, and it was just...
Did you have a big foot or a little foot last year?
Little stumpy foot,
little guy.
Little foot, yeah. And it was just one of those where you can't compete at that level without extreme prep from, like, now, you know, like, the lads in this country aren't enough to get around, but then you've got Troy and Stan and those boys and Chris and, like,
Beanie.
You've got to be on it from day one, haven't you? Yeah, exactly, you know, and yeah, going to get down and pester George a bit more and Collier, and I shouldn't be put off by the drive, because, like, George is about 4 hours away and Collier is about 6, which for you guys is like, you go to do that all the time, whereas for me, I'm like, that's way too far.
It's about 6 hours from me to Troy.
Exactly, so I've got no excuse, because I've got so much to learn off people like George and Collier. Like, obviously I've got loads to learn off Beanie, but because he's only 45 minutes away, I do get to see him a lot. And he has already taught me a lot. He's been a fantastic mentor already. And, like, what's ridiculous is I've got 2 of the best lads in the world in George and Alex being like, mate, come down whenever you want.
Another great sponsor of the Forge and Brains podcast is Farrier Box. They're kind of in a league of their own, setting up something that hasn't been done yet in our industry, which is a subscription-based model where every other month they send you a box with the new and innovative tools that are coming out by leading manufacturers and craftsmen in our trade. So every other month you can get a box shows up to your doorstep. You don't necessarily know what's in it, but I can guarantee you every time you get a box, it's going to be stuff that you can use and implement into your daily practice. Heck, half the tools I own now, they've all been supplied to me through Farrier Box. So you can go to their website, farrierbox.com. It's super easy to get set up. You fill out the information, use the code BRAINS on the coupon area, and you'll get 25% off your first month's box. That's almost $40 off your first box. That's a hell of a deal if you ask me. And a big thing that we like to talk about here on the Forge and Brains is community. We're a great community of like-minded folks, and we want to help see the others thrive in this environment. So help show your support. Go to farrierbox.com and use code BRAINS and get yourself 25% off your first month's box.
Practice whenever you want. And I'm like, yeah! And then just don't. Because I can practice up here with the lads up here, and it's like I need to just commit to going down there and doing it, because they have the knowledge, and, like, they're so good at transferring that knowledge as well. And, like, I only need to be in the forge with George for 10 minutes for him to be like, why are you doing that? And it's like, doing what? And he points out something I've probably been doing for the last 10 years that I've never noticed. Yeah, he's like, well, you're doing this. And Alex is the same. Like, he'll say to you, why is it you do that? And you go, oh, it must be a bad habit because I don't know that I'm doing it. So Yeah,
That's how it goes when like I go down to Riley's. You know, I'll
Yeah.
be doing something. He's like, "Why are you doing it that way?"
Yeah,
Just do it like this.
yeah, exactly. So
Well, I think it takes that because it probably like it seems like when you're just in the yard with the boys, like close to home,
yeah,
it's hangout session, man, and
of
like
course
you
it is.
guys are all kind of chilling, and then like when you get a little bit like when you drive a little further from home, someone you don't work with a ton,
Yeah.
I mean, even me and Gavin have worked with each other a ton. Like, we're gonna have that first like hour bullshit session knocking around before we like, oh, okay, what's going on here? Like, what do we got happening? Like,
Yeah.
so I'm
100%.
sure it is like it probably would do a lot good to just like you got to get out of your
Oh,
comfort
no
zone a
doubt.
little
And
bit
just
more.
seeing them work as well. And I found that
Yep.
from doing a bit more of the media stuff, like editing videos, especially when I'm slowing it down so I can see where I'm cutting it and stuff. Like watching a video of, I don't know, of Alex making a roadster or whatever and being like, oh, I've never noticed that he does that, or that he's
Yeah.
quenched it here, or he's stood over here, whatever it is. Or, I'm never going to try and emulate George because I'll just never have his hammer swing as long as I flip and live. It's just insane. So I'm
Little
just
bit different body types, maybe.
Yeah.
That might have something to do with it.
You're awesome. Yeah, that's for
George is
sure.
built like a
You're right
pit
up.
bull.
Yeah. He's he's just a freak, isn't he? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, body types may have something to do with that.
He's got so much whip. It's just it's mental, but it's good because I feel like I feel like I'm surrounded with the right people at the minute. Like I've got
Yep.
a brilliant support network at home, and like I can quite often run my shoes over to my dad, and he's still got a brilliant eye for being like, well, it's nice, but it's racked, or you consistently pull in your middle nail on that side down and that side up, so stop doing that, And then I've got Chris and Sam on the old brother group chat, like they're fantastic, and they'll probably put more shoes in that than anything because I know that we're kind of already chatting in that anyway, so it's kind of like a natural progression. And we did a lot of work running up to the fellowship practical, looking over each other's shoes and working out formulas for stuff. And Chris All's just gifted for coming up with a formula for, like I was really struggling with heart bars, and I just don't know where to measure them to. I don't know how to cut for them. I don't know where to put dots on them. And Chris just set up a system for how to do it, and like that's what he's good at. And then Sam's good in that he's just got that output. He's got such a high output in that he's just on the group chat all the time. He's practicing all the time. He's thinking all the time. So when I'm driving around, I'm having phone calls all day, every day with lads that really just want to talk about shoemaking, competing, horseshoeing, and I feel like it probably sounds a bit sad, but just surrounded with the right people,
Oh,
It's huge.
No, I think that's it's definitely what it is. It's being surrounded around the people and holding each other accountable.
100%, yeah. And that's where Sam Wolfenden's just started to get good now. It's like, he used to just come to the forge and be like, hey, your shoes are so nice. And I'm like, no, don't tell me that. Like,
Pick
tell
them
me what's
apart.
wrong. Like pick it up and be like, it's racked.
Yep.
Or he said, oh, this is such a nice shoe. And I'm like, yeah, but like, I'm coarse as hell on the inside. It's like, yeah, but it's such a nice shoe. It's like, no, it's too coarse. Yeah.
You're
And now
overlooking
he
the basic
started to point
element.
out the other thing, and then we had a timed run through the other day. He's like, I just want to run a class. Like, I don't care what class. I just want to run a class. I said, well, I'll tell you what, we'll put a clock on and we'll just make a plain stamp front and a plain stamp roadster hind. And he whipped me on the front. Like, he made such a sweet front, and then it like just pushes you, doesn't it? Because it's like, I can't even getting around me. Like, hang on a minute. Like, he's going to be coming here for a bit of help, and he's just absolutely chinned me on the front. So, yeah, he made a peach. So it's just good. Like, there seems to be so many keen lads, and I think that there's such a good environment worldwide for competitive farriery now that everybody's pushing and trying to get better, aren't they? It's
And thankfully, like it's
time.
cool that everyone's that it's getting posted more.
How good?
Because then it
Yeah.
does help push everybody even more because you're seeing it.
And I see like what Gavin Troyer posted and stuff, thinking like, I've got
Yep.
to try and get around these guys in September at Spruce, and they're doing jobs at the minute that I can't get around. So I'm going to have to pull my finger out and I'm going to have a big practice and try and catch them up a little bit. Otherwise, I'm going to leave it a little bit too little too late. And it's brilliant. Like, it's so good. So good.
No, I think it's a great deal, man. It's
Yeah.
cool. It's cool that it sounds like you're, like Jim Porsche says a thing like if you want to be a part of it, you got to live it,
Yeah.
and it's you're living it.
Oh, it feels like
you're
it,
engulfed 100%, dude.
when especially when people sort of chat to us and like, yeah, so what, maybe if they don't know me, like, what do you do? And it's like, it sounds quite sad, but
Yeah.
I am completely absorbed by this entire industry. Yeah, like I go to work and I shoe horses for a living, and then in my free time I do it for fun, and then I compete, and then my holidays aren't really holidays, they're going away for competitions, but I feel like I'm at a time in my life where I can commit to doing that, and I want to kind of front load it as much as I can. And I was literally on the phone to Sam Johnson yesterday saying, like, I don't know how I'm going to get these next 10 days of my life completed, because we're going flat out trying to organise this big competition on Saturday for the Pairs Championship, and then I've only got a few days at work before I fly to Denmark, and then it's not long when I get back from that. We're away to Sweden, and it's like, but now's the time. There's never been an easy time in my life to do it. Like, now's the time to do it. And I love it. Like, I wouldn't change it. I don't mind doing the odd late night to get caught up, to get away, So just feel really lucky with it. It feels great. I love it. Yeah.
No, it's what it takes, man.
So, Toby, question that we ask our guests here on the show, we call it the Mount Rushmore. So you guys don't have them over there in England, but we do here in the States. It's the 4 presidents on the wall, on the mountain or whatever. And so it's basically 4 people that you hold in a high regard that have helped you got to where you are and become the person you are today.
Yeah, so I obviously I'm a big fan of the pod, so I knew you were going to ask, and gave it a bit of thought, to be fair. And the first one's got to be my dad, because I think that more than anything, just drilling into us that work ethic, and he was never like, you have to work hard, but like just watching him every day, like to get where he's got to and get what he's got, he's just grafted like hell for it and never complained about it. Like he'd come home on a night, he shoes more horses than me now. And he creaks out of the van and he can barely stand up. And it's like, oh, you shod some today, mate? And he's like, oh, God, yeah, they had a few extra here and a few extra there. And he never complains about it, And then he jumps in the tractor and starts jobbing around the yard. And then he goes and digs a drainage ditch. And then he goes and sorts some fencing out. And he just never stops. And I think that whatever it is you want to do, especially in this trade, whether it's competing or whether it's the exam route, pushing for the fellowship and stuff, or just as a business, you've got to have that work ethic where you're happy just to put the graft in and not complain about it. And also, like, he's had a hard paper round. Like, his joints are, pretty cooked. Like, you look at him trying to open his hands out, like little Lego hands. Like, that's about as open as they get. His elbows creaks round, and he doesn't seem particularly unhappy about it. Like, he never gripes or moans or anything. And I get... One of the things that a lot of other farriers that don't compete say to me is like, are you not worried about your joints and, longevity and all that sort of stuff? And like, I'm aware of it and I try not to be stupid about it, but I'm kind of accepting that, I'm going to be worn out. I expect to be quite worn out by the time I'm at that sort of age. And I get to a point where, you're just going to be quite worn out, aren't you? And I think that a lot of people kind of tiptoe carefully through life to arrive safely at death, and like, I don't know if it's the right way. Like, I think it'll come as a bit of a relief to me because everything's going to be fucking hurting. So
you lived your life the way you want to live it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that, like, I'm not saying go out there and bash your body up, but I think just seeing, like, don't let it hold you back either. Like, don't live a toothless life. Just get on with it, and you're going to pick up niggles along the way. And I know people that haven't shod horses and haven't made shoes that are still knackered when they're 7-year-old. They don't look any better for it. It's just age. So, yeah, he's certainly... There was no doubt in my mind that he was going on first, like, for sure. Second has got to be Gary Harland, because just took so much from him in... I think it... they're quite influential years, aren't they? When you're 16 to 20, like, he was a real good role model for me then. And just in the... It's not cool to be grumpy and miserable. It's actually really cool to be like the happy guy that's happy to see everybody, happy to go to work and enjoy the job and enjoy what it's all about. And you can enjoy, you just get on and play with it and have kind of creative license with it and be proud of your work. Like,
it's more than a job.
It's more than a job. And he was so proud that we made every shoe. Like, even when it was hard, even when we got finished shoeing at 8 o'clock in the evening and then we had to go and make stock, like, he was just proud to get it done. And he's had so much influence on me in that way, and just in like just raw belief of like, yeah, if you want to do it, you can do it. Like whether it's get on the England team as an apprentice or whether it's push for the England team now and like, good man, get on, do it, do your associate, do your fellowship. Like just a real inspirational guy, and he's a local legend around here. Like no one's got a bad word to say about him. He's just an icon, and with the tool making as well, like he's the one that got us into the tool making because it was just a massive part of the apprenticeship, and now I really enjoy the hammer making and making other tools. So just feel like I owe him a lot for that, and a lot of Farriers owe Gary Harland a lot because he's been a massive benefit for the trade. Yeah, so he's definitely in at number 2. Number 3, I didn't know which way to go with it, but I think it's going to be Beanie. And yeah, the main reason that I'm going to say is because when I was 11, 12-year-old, obviously I was helping Gaz and following my dad's apprentices and stuff to competitions. So I'd always go to every competition there was just to watch and be a nuisance and, you know, run the clock or whatever it was I could do and just enjoy being around it. And at that age, he was the guy that was like unstoppable, world champion. No one could get near him. He was pushing the competition scene to places it hadn't seen, and he was doing things that people hadn't done before and just seemed untouchable. Well, you jump on now, 20 years on, and he's still that guy. And not only is he still that guy, like, he looks like he really enjoys it. Like, I practice with Beanie. He's loving it, you know? Yeah. Like, he's having such a good time. There's no part of him that looks like he's sick of it. And again, the same kind of people that say, do not worry about your joints, they also say, like, do you not get bored just making shoes? And I don't get bored, but there was a small time in my life where I started to worry, like, is there going to be a day when I wake up and I just don't want to do this? Like, because everyone keeps sort of saying, like, you're not bored of it yet. Like,
yeah.
Right? And then I sort of look at him and think, well, he's not bored. He still wants to go and win international titles, and yep. You know, and he's been at the top for so long, and yeah, he's been a massive inspiration for me at the beginning of my career and throughout, and then in the latter stages he's been a brilliant mentor as well. So kind of like childhood hero sounds a bit dramatic, but you know, when I was obsessed with Farrier as a 12-year-old and he was going around winning everything, he was just like this. And then for him then to be now the guy that's helping me and training me and being on teams with me and to be on England teams with him and stuff just seems like, yeah, it just feels surreal, like that. Yeah. He's still going at that level and just doesn't really look like slowing up. And
oh yeah,
like the work again, it just comes back to work ethic. Like when we were at the Home International, we'd had a pretty good first day. It was at the Yorkshire Showground, so not too far away, and I was pretty happy. Like I thought we'd had a pretty solid go. Like we hadn't definitely won the first day, but we'd pretty put a pretty good claim into it. And we went out for a bit of tea and a few beers after and stuff. And I said, "Oh, where's Beanie?" And he was back practicing for the next day. And it's like, you know, here I am, fucking first guy, you know, first team, and I'm having a beer and chilling out, thinking like, good day today. And he's, you know, at the time, 5-time world champion, and he's back, you know, working on it. Like, wasn't good enough, need to be better tomorrow, need to get it sorted, need to sort this, need to sort that. So, yeah, been quite inspiring through every stage of my career, really, because especially watched him come back for the World Championships this last time. Because he was so honest about feeling like he had work to do and he was behind, I suppose, and had felt like the underdog for the first time in a while and all this sort of stuff. So watching how he dealt with that and just let it drive him forward and not steady him up at all. Like he never took a backward step for it. It just made him go harder and get it done. And then to watch him pull it off and get it done was, it was brilliant to be a part of. And yeah, I think he needs to be up there really, for sure. Number 4, I thought about for a while, and I know the reason I always didn't want to do it is because I feel like everyone says it, but Craig Trinket for me, because away from, I feel like I've got role models in lots of different aspects in Farrier, and for me growing up, doing well and being successful and having a positive influence on the trade was all about being the guy that was passing the exam or winning the competition or whatever it was. And actually, through seeing what Craig's built over there and what he's done with the WCB and what it's done for the industry as a whole, I'd say worldwide. Like, I'd say it's inspired people worldwide. Just from creating that environment for people to go on and do what they do in, and like the monsters he's created in, like yourself and Stan and Troy and things like that, and Chris and so many others, and obviously Bodie and things, it's made me realise that like you can have a positive impact on the industry without being the guy doing the winning. Because I know Craig was a phenomenal competitor. I know he's phenomenally talented. I know he's got an unbelievable skill set and incredible knowledge. But that's not what I know him for. I know him for being someone that's created this platform for us all to compete on at the highest level again. And I think that he's just been a role model for me of like, someone has to step up and take it on. And that's a bit like what's happened with this British Pairs Championship. So Cav Pairs every year was a competition in London. It was my favourite one to go to, and sort of start of the year, so everyone gets excited. It's a bit of a pilgrimage down there, and it's always a good go, tight class. And then Sam Johnson rang me in November and was like, they're not running it. And I was like, no, surely they are. He says, no, they're not. They're refurbing the Ford, just not on. So like, we both just said, well, we'll run it then. We'll run it at the Yorkshire Showground, and we'll run the exact same competition on the same day. We'll get permission off them first to make sure they're happy with us to do it. And we spoke to the army and said, are you happy if we run a like-for-like competition in Yorkshire and have a pairs competition up here? And they were like, yeah, go for it. Like, you're not bothering us. We're not doing it, so get on with it. And it's been a massive success, and it's opened a lot of other doors up. And the competition itself, when the entries went live, it filled up in 7 minutes. Like, it's just phenomenal support for it. And it'd be so easy in that situation to be like, oh, they're not running it. That sucks. Never mind. And leave it to somebody else. Whereas I think role models like Craig in your life make you think, nah, someone's got to do it, so let's just get on and do it.
Yep.
And I think, yeah, for that reason, obviously he's a phenomenal farrier as well and a phenomenal competitor, and I really like him as a bloke and I rate him as a person. But for what he's done for the industry through just creating environments, I think is pretty inspirational as well. So deserves to be up there for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's a reason he is easily our most Mount Rushmore person.
I know, and
on here, it's like there's a reason.
I almost didn't want to say it because I felt like everybody else has kind of come and said that, but it has had a massive influence on me, and the same with the manager's role of like, there was a massive part of me saying like, just leave this to somebody else, like don't involve yourself with this, concentrate on yourself. But actually, like, through taking it on, I've learned so much, and I've taken so much out of it selfishly for myself that's been fantastic, you know? Yep. So, yeah, he's been a phenomenal role model from all the way over there, just with what he's created and what he's done. Yeah.
No, it's a pretty cool deal of how big the world is, but how small our competing farrier world is. 100%. It's not that big. It's a pretty tight community, and it's one of my favorite things. You know, it's a great deal.
It's brilliant. Yeah.
Thanks a bunch, Toby, for taking time out of your day, man.
I really enjoyed it.
Sitting down with us, man. Thanks everybody for tuning in and listening to another episode.
Yeah, thank you, Toby.
Cheers, guys. Thanks for having me on, guys. Thank you.
We'll see you again soon.
Yeah, we'll see you soon. If not,